Behind the girls and the glitz of Moscow's International Auto Show lies the real excitement that Russia is on its way to become one of the world's top 5 car markets. With sales jumping in Russia and slumping in Europe this year, Russia could displace Germany in 2014 as Europe's largest car market. That would make Russia the world's 4th largest car market after China, the United States, and Japan. But Russia joined the World Trade Organization 2 weeks ago. Now, car companies are racing to boost production inside Russia while they are still protected by tariffs. Each of the American Big 3 automakers, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, plan to invest $1 billion in car factories in Russia. Ted Canis is president of the Ford Solar's joint venture.
Because we were the first ones in here 10 years ago, and we built over 500,000 vehicles here, this is a key core place in Russia, and we see a huge potential for Ford.
Nearby, James Bavenzi, General Motors president for Russia, says GM plans to double production in Russia over the next 5 years.
General Motors values the Russian market. We see it as one of the big growth markets in the world.
To generate buzz in Russia, GM invited Henry Kissinger to its plant expansion ceremony last June in St. Petersburg. With car sales up 14% in Russia this year, dealers are struggling to meet demand. Here at a brand new Chrysler dealership on Moscow's Beltway, Chrysler Russia CEO John Steck says the new cars resonate with Russian customers.
For a while we couldn't get enough. Now we have a better supply, and we see this really in the activity in our dealers.
And there is room for growth. There is about 1 car for every 4 Russians, about half the average for Western Europe and the United States. Chris Weafer, a strategist for Troika Dialogue, says Russian consumers have money in their pockets.
It is one of the fastest consumer markets in the world, and that's coming on the back of very strong disposable income growth. About $8,000 this year, rising projected to about $12,000 in about 4 or 5 years' time. So people have more money to spend on consumer goods.
Bernard Sucher, a long-term American investor and sometime Russia critic, comes from Detroit, home of the Big 3 American manufacturers. He's impressed by what is happening in Russia.
And have done a pretty good job of encouraging global producers and suppliers of addressing the Russian market on terms that are evidently favorable to the foreign players, but at the same time promise that Russia will retain a substantial manufacturing capacity itself. It's a good story, it's a win-win story, and we'd like to see more of that.
Now, with all the new cars hitting the streets, the challenge is to build parking and roads. James Brook, VOA News, Moscow.